You're watching Newsday TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ken Bufa. It was a deadly day on Long Island roads today. A motorcyclist in Bohemia was hit and killed on Lakeland Avenue. Police say it was 39-year-old David Juveric of Sayville. Also in Suffolk, 21-year-old Melanie Quinones was hit by a car and killed on Washington Avenue in Brentwood. In Copiague, a driver was charged for allegedly driving without a license after hitting an 84-year-old woman crossing Montauk Highway. She was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. We are also learning about two other car crashes in East Moriches and Coram. Here's a look at a crash in East Moriches over at Montauk Highway and Bay Avenue. Now in Coram, police are seen closing off parts of Patchogue Mount Sinai Road at Pine Road. Now you can find the latest updates on these crashes and see Newsday's year-long investigative series looking at Long Island's dangerous roads over at Newsday.com. An Uber claims some passengers are staging hit-and-run accidents to get insurance money. Uber and Liberty Mutual have filed a federal lawsuit saying the alleged scheme works like this. So a car sideswipes an Uber, the car then drives off, then the passengers in the Uber report injuries. Now, according to the suit, the fake crashes happened in Hempstead, Lynbrook, and in Valley Stream. And police have identified the body found in the Long Island Sound Monday night. 32-year-old Brittany Critis Garrep of Oyster Bay was discovered in the water of Lloyd Harbor. Police say the death was non-criminal. And a Jumbotron message at an Islanders game was asking for donations for a former sergeant convicted of manslaughter. Now, during their final game of the season, the team posted a QR code, the one you see there, asking fans to donate to NYPD Sergeant Benevolent Association for Eric Duran. The 38-year-old was sentenced to 3 to 9 years in prison for throwing a cooler at a suspect and killing him on a motorized scooter. Now, the Islanders have declined to comment on this. All right, let's take a quick look at tomorrow's weather. It was absolutely gorgeous today. Let's see if we have any good news for tomorrow. And we do. Temps will be in the high 70s. We'll have partly cloudy skies. And of course, we'll have that 7-day forecast for you later in the broadcast. State health officials say a former Amityville nurse practitioner faked hundreds of vaccine records for kids. Now they're trying to get authorities to press charges. Remember that nurse that sold fake COVID vaccine cards and made more than $1 million doing it? Well, Newsday just got their hands on never-before-seen footage of the undercover operation that took her down. And this third video may suggest something that could affect your kids, your grandkids, and countless others. Now, before we show the first video, let's just get caught up on who Julie DeVono is and how authorities say her fraud is costing folks much more than just money.
Julie DeVono is a former nurse practitioner from Amityville who sold COVID cards for money, essentially for people who did not want to get the vaccine, but wanted to get a COVID card so they can go to a concert, so they can still work.
It's 2021. The world is finally crawling out of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The vaccine is coming out very, very quickly.
And everyone is urged to get vaccinated. Some don't mind, others want a way to avoid it.
People are scared.
That's where Julie DeVono's practice, Wild Child Pediatrics in Amityville, comes into play. Here, she gave anti-vax Long Islanders a way to avoid the shot, but still get the card.
People would come in, they would pay the money. She would, in exchange for the money, give them their COVID card, but without actually using the vaccine.
And it's here we take a look at our first video.
See, I mean, he knows I'm totally against the whole vaccine bull. But he's like, you know, he doesn't know my business.
This is footage from a hidden camera pinned to an undercover cop. He's in DeVono's office asking her if he can send a buddy over to get a vaccine card the way he did.
He thinks I have the real
Right,
vaccine.
thinks you begrudgingly got it.
No, yeah, exactly. So he's saying, can I get it? So I'm like, let me talk to her and see.
DeVono gives him some rules.
Just tell him that we only do it for families and that you have a niece or cousin who's a patient of the practice.
Gotcha.
I actually had to sign something In order to administer COVID vaccines, I promise that I am not going to charge a penny out of pocket. No co-pays, no co-insurance.
Listen, it was worth $440.
I had a guy come and try to do that. He's like, I don't understand why you're charging me. You know, I know this costs you nothing. I'm like, you want to know what my lawyer charges me to be on retainer?
DeVono says the price for her service is rising.
Listen, $440 to not get the shot is well worth it.
Yeah, and that was before January 1st. We raised it
Oh.
$350.
I got in just in time.
Got in.
This scheme goes on for months.
She did this for thousands. I mean, the number is somewhere in the 4,000 range is what she estimates it as.
And that leads us to video 2. Officials say thousands of clients paying hundreds of dollars adds up to more than $1 million. And if you're wondering what she did with the real vaccine doses that she was not injecting,
She has said that she would just throw it right into the garbage.
it's 2022. Cops arrest DeVono and another employee of hers, and they search her home. They find $900,000 in cash.
She would take the cash home and put it in a duffel bag. She took $200-something thousand, paid off her mortgage, her half of the mortgage. She took something like $80,000, bought cold coins. She admitted to all this. These were all ways that she was trying to take the cash and was trying to use it before they can find that cash.
1 year later, she pleads guilty to money laundering, forgery, and filing false records. The judge orders her to return $1.2 million in profits, surrender her nursing license, close her clinic.
Instead of doing any jail time, though, she will serve 840 hours of community service and be on probation for 5 years.
She was offered an opportunity at her sentencing to give a speech. She chose not to. Where she gave her speech was outside the courthouse.
When a law is unjust, a man is not only right to disobey, but he is morally obligated to do so.
DeVono has since moved out of state and is now living in Pennsylvania. And this is where you'd think the story ends. Well, it doesn't. Because before this whole COVID vaccine scam happened, authorities say DeVono was lying about giving kids required vaccines. So let's talk about video 3. You see all those black squares, the ones blocking out children? We can't say for sure these particular kids are affected, but it turns out the state health department and the Department of Education say when it comes to kids, Julie DeVono is a name they already know.
The Department of Education received 2 complaints about Julie DeVono. One from the head of immunizations for the health department and one from a Cohen Children's Medical Center doctor. They both said, hey, we think Julie DeVono is committing pediatric vaccine fraud.
Let's talk about 2019, because that's the year there was a big measles outbreak and New York State decided they're going to end religious exemptions for vaccines, which meant that the only way your kid can go to public school, private school, pre-K, daycare was if they were vaccinated or if they had a medical excuse.
17 years as a nurse, 0 vaccinations. So the state repeals the religious exemption, the number shoots up to more than 7,000. So that's the thing that really shocked me when I saw that number, 000, boom, goes through the roof.
And if the number of shots were not shocking enough, officials say where the clients came from was.
People were driving from Montauk or near Albany and in the Hudson Valley just to get their kids vaccinated, which for a lot of people doesn't make sense.
On top of that, a kid gets sick.
So a kid came to the hospital with mumps-related facial swelling, and the hospital was told by the parent, oh yeah, this kid's vaccinated. Hospital did blood tests, and the kid was not vaccinated.
The New York State Education Department charges DeVono with misconduct for incomplete vaccination records and hits her with a $500 fine, but she can continue to practice.
Essentially charges her with a slap on the wrist and that she agrees to be censured and reprimanded and she gets a $500 fine. Everything's done with that case.
2024, everything is not done with. The state health department investigates further. They begin to review school records and subpoena more than 200 schools. And all this is happening while the State Department of Health is urging prosecutors to charge DeVono for allegedly lying about these kids getting vaccinated. The thing is, prosecutors say bringing those charges is not that easy.
The type of evidence we need to do a criminal investigation is different than what they could proceed on administratively. And our burden of proof is beyond a reasonable doubt, and their burden of proof is preponderance of the evidence. We had no evidence of that. No evidence. No competent evidence which we could use in either a grand jury or a criminal court of law. We would have to actually have someone in that room to be able to say, on such and such a date, this person didn't receive a shot, or the shot that they got didn't contain that which it was claimed to be.
So what happens now? Well, state health officials are still investigating. They're still pursuing administrative charges that could carry fines reaching in the millions of dollars.
Every false vaccination, and a false vaccination is not a child, it's each vaccination. So a false polio vaccination is one charge, which could be up to $2,000 each. So that could lead to millions of dollars in fines against Devono.
And kids right now, all over the state and beyond, could be exposed.
So we rely on a certain percentage of the population to be vaccinated to protect the most vulnerable among us.
Doctors worry if an outbreak does happen and records are not right.
There's a ticking clock, especially for after a measles exposure. And if we don't have the correct information, we may make assumptions that someone is protected when they're not.
Look, vaccines have been a pretty touchy subject for a while, and officials say they understand that. But
decisions matter. And if we as a society don't tell the truth in those instances, that can lead to some very dangerous consequences.
And although these alleged decisions were made by parents years ago, officials say it just goes to show you a decision for one can affect us all.
The argument from pediatricians we've talked to is that you're sort of lying to those parents when you're saying that my kid's vaccinated and they're really not.
We're in 2026 now. The COVID pandemic feels like ages ago, and we're still talking about this nurse. And that's not because of the COVID fraud. It's because it's another layer and layer and layer of allegations of other fraud that's still playing out today with Long Island families.
Only in Newsday, according to a wide-ranging lawsuit filed last week by FedEx, a Deer Park surgeon is accused of performing unnecessary surgeries on drivers and a passenger in alleged staged car crashes. Now, the suit claims spinal surgeon Dr. Alexios Apazidis and 24 physician lawyers and medical professionals conspired to bill the delivery company through a staged accident scheme and inflated medical bills. Newsday's reporter Robert Brodsky breaks it down.
Among those doctors that were named was Dr. Alexios Apazidis. He's an orthopedic surgeon from Deer Park who is accused of performing unnecessary spinal and cervical surgeries on both drivers and passengers who were involved in allegedly staging these motor vehicle crashes. He has been accused of using the identical operative report language in 43 different surgeries. Often for patients he performed surgeries on at Nassau University Medical Center, that's a safety net hospital in East Meadow. So he's found himself in multiple lawsuits. He's been sued multiple times and had his license previously suspended. However, the health department did stay that suspension after he paid a fine. There is an investigation going on, or there's a request for investigation that's going on, seeking the state health department to revoke Dr. Apazidis' license.
Now, to read more about this story, go to Newsday.com, click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. Only in Newsday, today is tax day, and many Long Islanders are getting bigger refunds this year. Virginia Huey finds out how they're spending it.
I'm excited. I can't wait to get my refund.
Jared Smith of Freeport is among the early income tax filers seeing bigger refunds this year. The Republican tax cuts in the 2025 One Big Beautiful Bill Act are driving the bump. They include eliminating taxes on some overtime and tipped income, as well as lifting the cap on the deduction for state and local taxes, or SALT, from $10,000 to $40,000.
Everybody on Long Island's getting more because of the SALT cap getting raised.
More than 71% of tax returns nationwide have received a refund in 2026 so far, with the average refund coming in at over $3,500.
First time after 3 years. I'm very happy for that.
After years of owing the IRS, Effie Carahalios knows what she'll spend her refund on.
Probably food. Yeah.
Why food?
Because I have extra money, so I can buy anything more.
Tywell Miller of North Amityville says he'll spend his refund on sprucing up his house.
I'll probably do landscaping on the house. Me and the wife talked about doing landscaping.
Other early filers feel their refunds are being canceled out by the higher prices they're paying in the supermarket and at the pump.
Gas is crazy right now.
Melanie Mergentime of Syosset says she's using her refund for gas, food, and bills.
No pleasures. Just making up to make ends meet.
Linda of Syosset says she's putting her refund away for a rainy day.
We're going to bank it. The way things are, very unsure, economy shaky. So we are going to just put it aside for that rainy day, which I'm sure is coming.
For Newsday TV, I'm Virginia Huey.
Only in Newsday, it dominated the headlines in the 90s. The shooting of a wife in Massapequa in a scandalous affair that led up to it. The story of Amy Fisher and Joey Buttafuoco. It's this week's Picture This.
A local scandal that made international headlines.
At the time, it was obviously a huge story for Long Island, for Newsday.
After a husband's betrayal and an attack on his wife, a young woman is dubbed the Long Island Lolita.
I don't think it gets more scandalous than that.
May 19, 1992, 17-year-old Amy Fisher shows up at Joey Buttafuoco's Massapequa home and confronts his wife, Mary Jo, telling her about a year-long affair between the teen and 36-year-old Joey.
After an argument here on Adam Road West, Mary Jo turns to go back inside the house, and that's when Amy pulls out a pistol and shoots her in the face.
Did she think that she could get rid of Mary Jo and then marry Joey? I just didn't quite understand her motives at the time, and probably because she was a teenager, she didn't really understand them at the time either.
Police at the time called it a near-fatal attraction. Mary Jo miraculously survives, the bullet still lodged in her jawbone, and is able to describe her attacker. Amy Fisher admits her crime to police and later testifies against Joey in exchange for a lighter sentence.
I did attend the trial. I followed it very closely.
Fisher faced 5 to 15 years behind bars.
She only served 7 of those years, in part because Mary Jo actually pleaded on her behalf with the parole board, saying that she felt that Amy had shown real remorse.
Joey, meanwhile, was sentenced to 6 months for statutory rape. The Buttafuocos moved away and eventually divorced, but all three stayed in the spotlight and continued to make media appearances. The South Shore scandal still finds its way into the headlines. It was recently recreated in a Lifetime movie.
All right, let's take a look at your 7-day forecast to see how much of this warm weather we're going to have for the week. As you can see, Thursday, Friday, we are in the mid-70s. Looking good on Saturday, too. We do have some rain moving in, but look at those temps Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They are dropping to 50s.
Long Island weather is brought to you by Fire Island Ferries.
Now, for more on the stories you've seen here today, head over to Newsday.com. Click Get More below the Newsday TV video box. I'm Ken Buffa. More news coming up.
There's more to Long Island than you know when you picture this. Join Macy Egland for a journey through some of the major moments in Long Island's past through the lens of the Newsday archives. Picture This, available now at Newsday.com/picture this.